And I told her, I thank you for not hiring me because it put me on this path to where I am today. And first global live women's sports network, co-founded by Whoopi Goldberg.
Hi, I'm Tessa Arcilia. In Choices and Chances, I use my own style of interviewing, honed through decades as an international news presenter and correspondent, to delve into a new topic each week and interview some of the most inspiring people in the world. Life is a series of choices that give us chances to live our best lives. My goal is to turn the wisdom of people I talk to and lessons from my own experiences into ideas you can use. So if you'd like to be inspired by other stories, hit the subscribe button and join the community. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. And for those listening, we're friends, so I'm really happy to have this catch-up opportunity with you. Thank you.
Hey, Tessa, good to see you again. It's been so long.
It really has been long. And one thing that brought Miguel back into my spheres because of LinkedIn, actually, he posted some career news that I found really incredible. Why don't you tell us about this new step that you've taken?
Thank you. It's I joined this brand new network called the All Women Sports Network. It's the first global live women's sports network. It was co-founded by Whoopi Goldberg, and I think everybody knows who she is. She is probably one of the most beloved entertainers in the United States and around the world. She had this vision for creating a women's sports network. And my company, I currently work for this company called Jungo TV. We're based in Los Angeles. When she met the CEO of Jungo, they basically hit it off. And we, thankfully, they both saw eye to eye on the need for something like this. And it's important. It's not just the business in itself, but it's also what it stands for, which is providing a platform for women athletes. And there's not enough of that currently in the world. So people could say, oh yeah, but there's women's sports on ESPN, there's women's sports on Fox Sports or whatever, but it's never going to be the priority. It's never going to be the main thing that they show. So this network that I've been working on it's been over a year at this point. We were developing in stealth mode since last year. We launched it November 6th internationally. We're seeing in like India, the Middle East, in other places as well. I can't really say yet where we are, but we are in the process of rolling it out. So when we finally launched it, the word just spread like wildfire, which is very heartening because everyone knows that there's a need for women's sports, for more focus on women's sports. And this was also before the whole Caitlin Clark phenomenon for women's basketball here in the US. So we've been at it for a while. Whoopi's been at it for a long time. She's been told no so many times. So when this finally went live, it's just so great to be part of an amazing project, especially with someone as amazing as Whoopi Goldberg.
You said that there is a need. I think we've recognized that for a long time, but why did it take this long? Is there also recognition now that there's a business element, a business side, a profit to it? Is that why? Or what was it that made us ready for this?
In my opinion, I can't really speak for Whoopi or for anybody else, but from my perspective, there was movement towards it. And I think to some extent, the fragmentation of media actually kind of helped, give more what they call niche content verticals. I'm talking from a broader content perspective. Niche content verticals, more exposure. There's more of an audience for, and then there is that saying, there's riches and niches, right? So when there was more exposure for that, there was just more awareness for it. And I think in the end, awareness, and then when you actually see how amazing these female athletes are, it's a no-brainer. Why would you not support that? And we've never seen such excitement for women's sports in a long time, and thankfully, it's finally getting its due. So we're super excited for that. So there is a good business element to it. At the same time, it's also a movement that we want to start, and we want to ignite and continuously, basically fan the flames to get women really that platform. And I think what we want to do, and this goes back to also to Whoopi's her vision. She is a huge advocate for women, and this is part of that as well. We want to make sure like young girls, teenagers can see themselves pursuing a career in professional sports. It's not a man's game, it's everyone's game.
Looking at you now, Migs, you are in a very high profile job. You're working with someone like Whoopi. It's easy to just see, oh, he's successful, full stop. But I've known you for a really long time. And be off air, we were talking about something I remember very well. In our uni days, we were sitting at the cafe opposite our university, and you were trying to decide whether to take a job with this channel, MTV at the time. I don't know if music videos are still a thing, but MTV at the time, and another opportunity. You were at such a crossroads. Can you talk to us about your career journey? Because seeing you up here, I'm sure people will be interested in your journey.
It's funny because so when Tessa, you and I we were in college together. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I really didn't. I was lost, just like most young people. And I'm saying like I call young people now young because I'm not young anymore. I could say you young people, but I I was lost. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I mean, we were Tessa, you and I were like in marketing in an integrated marketing program, I guess, and then I really was lost. All I knew was I loved the media side of things. I've always enjoyed entertainment. I've loved music. I grew up, um, you know, just being a huge fan of entertainment, all forms of entertainment. So when I graduated, because uh, our school basically has like this 4 year program and then this 5 year program where they kind of tie in a master's degree for
Yeah.
5 years. So you get basically your master's. I actually did graduate with a master's degree. So I graduated, and then some of our classmates says, I think you went to the master's program.
I did. I took a leave of absence, but went back for it. Yes.
Yeah, so you did that because you're very smart. I wasn't, and so
No,
basically,
it's not true.
I was trying to figure out what to do. I really didn't know. I went to the U.S. for vacation. So this is in Manila in the Philippines. So I went to the U.S. for vacation just kind of to clear my head and just take a break. I just needed a break. And then came back. I just was sort of like, okay, here goes. Let me see what's here. And that's probably the scariest thing I've ever done is just put myself out there and try to see what the opportunities are. And I literally did not know. I I ran the gamut of different types of application. I applied for. I don't know what I was thinking, but I applied. Tessa, you probably don't know this. I applied for like a position for a senator's Philippine senator's staff member, or whatever. And I quickly realized that's not for me. Number one, they also pay you crappily, and it's just so bad. And it's not politics; it's just not my thing. So that was gone. I remember applied for like a publishing company, and I didn't get that. And then I did apply for this big media buying company, and in our school, because we when we took marketing, it was basically a very holistic marketing program. They did from creative advertising to media buying to PR, all of that. So I applied because one of my good friends was already working there, and he encouraged me to, hey, let's be coworkers. Like when you're young and you're like, oh, they were friends that were coworkers too. So that's so cool. And he's like, okay, just apply for it. So I did everything, and I applied for whatever reason. I don't know if this is a thing still, but there was an entrance exam. I'm like, an entrance exam
Oh,
for a
really?
job. So maybe that's something in the Philippines only. I don't understand. That really kind of threw me off. But I took it. I passed it, and then I went into this interview. The person who interviewed me loved me, and then I thought, okay, I'm on track. I'm on track to do this, right? And then I didn't hear back. It's crickets for like weeks. I was sort of just, what happened? What happened here? I don't understand. And then I called my buddy up and asked him, hey, can you find out from the boss? So it turns out the boss, I also left this part out. The boss was actually our teacher
Mm.
for media buying. She was the managing director of this big media buying company. So my friend found out what happened, and and basically he said, the big boss, the managing director of this company, said, I can't hire him because I know he won't be happy here.
Oh.
Yes, he, I know him because he's my student. He passed everything. He's great, but this is not for him. And, when I heard that, I was honestly like, I was kind of pissed, to be honest. I'm like, what do you mean? So the fact that you knew me put me at a disadvantage, even though I literally passed I passed all metrics that they would actually hire someone. If she didn't know who I was, I think she would have hired me. They would have hired me. So it was sort of like a weird thing where I was like, I don't know what to think of this because, to be rejected for a job is just, it's kind of sad. I think everybody could relate to that when you're up for something, you really want it, and then you don't get it. You just, you just feel bad, and it just hurts your ego, it hurts your self-esteem, it hurts basically like the basic truth of who you are, like this is, wait, am I a failure? So I was really bummed out by that. So of course, I gave myself a little bit of time, not too long, but time to kind of be like, well, I don't know if I could cuss, but yeah, oh and and then and then I got this email, this opportunity. I got it, back then. So this is for people who don't know. We had things called Yahoo groups, and and so there was this
Ah,
this
yes.
this email this email that came out that there's an opening for a producer at MTV Asia, and that's when I was like, you know what, this might be for me, and I went for it. I applied. I got the job, and I was kind of surprised because they were asking me stuff like, "Oh, have you ever produced anything before?" I was like, "No, I've never produced anything, but I'm willing to learn. I'm a big fan of MTV. I This is MTV back when MTV was playing music videos, um, and I'm a big fan of music. I know everything about MTV. I was literally an MTV fiend growing up. When I like to say now, when it was cool. So so and they were like saying, "Oh, can you show me some scripts that you've written?" Because as the role, the job response included script writing. I was like, I don't have it yet, but I'm willing to learn. But I was just being myself. I was showing them basically my passion for this, and I told them I was willing to work hard. I guess they saw the sincerity in my in that, because I can't be anyone else than myself. That's what I also realized about who I am. And despite all of that, with zero experience, they they hired me. And that's when I got in, I realized this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I want to do. Media, entertainment. I had a vague notion of wanting to do that. But then when I finally got hired, it was sort of a validation for me that I'm this is for me. And I think when we spoke about my dilemma before, is because I was lost just like everyone else. And I mean, I think it was great for you that you knew exactly what you wanted to do. But again, what I realized is everyone has their own path. Everyone is on their own journey. We can't compare our paths forward because we all diverge. Everyone's unique. So that's when I realized that this is for me. And I've I've worked hard. I feel like I've progressed constantly, and I always approach everything with beginner's mindset of just like, I need to learn this. I want to do, because if you say that you know everything, then you're you might as well kiss your career goodbye, because
Mm.
that's not true. It's just inherently not true. It's not even possible to know everything and to be the best
Yes,
at everything.
it stops your potential for growth. And I'm curious though, did you ever go back to that boss teacher that we had to ask why? Because what do you think she saw in you that made her realize this is really not going to make you happy, that you hadn't seen yet,
Huh.
maybe, or not accepted yet? I'm not sure what it was.
Well, what I remember was she said that, Miguel, I think you have a great career in entertainment. That's what she told me. I think you'd be good in entertainment. And I remember just being like, okay, because I was like, that's not what I'm trying to do here, you know. So I generally and I guess that's what stuck. And she remembers that. That's, I guess that's just what she remembers of me. and I never really asked her, to be honest. It's not
Mm,
like it's honestly, I should thank her
yeah.
for giving me for
Rejecting
rejecting
you.
rejecting me. Actually, I did thank her. She ended up being a big boss in another company, and my current company did business with them. And when she saw me, she's like, "Oh," and I told her, "I thank you for not hiring me, because it put me on this path to where I am today, and I'm actually grateful." And sometimes I feel you may not realize it, but rejection could be a good thing. It could be something that pushes you forward, and someone might need to push you in the right direction, and not you push
Mm,
yourself. So I guess what I realize is that, like, no man's an island. No one can ever say I did it myself. No, we all had help one way or the other. People who gave us chances, people who gave us opportunities, people who actually said no to us, people um, who support you unconditionally. Everyone's there to support you, and without that support, um, and no matter how you take it, that at the time, it's always helping form you, shape you, be better at who you are, and push you where you should be, put you where you should be. So that's really what I guess
yeah.
over 20 years, that's
Yeah.
where I
And
am.
well, and Migs, you have moved around in circles that are quite high up there on a global scale. So you live in LA, you're moving around this media entertainment circuit. Did you always have big dreams like that? Did you think, oh, I'm going to conquer LA and Hollywood and this? Or like, because what is it like for someone like you from Manila to conquer the world stage? And I think, I know my own path. It's been a lot. There's been a lot of rejections, but I also had such a clear goal. Did you have that big dream, or did opportunities open up with with every little step? I don't know how did it pan out for you?
Honestly, Tessa, it was it was very incremental for me. I always went with the flow. I think I've always been kind of chilled naturally. I'm just a pretty even keeled person. Um, and I went with the flow. Uh, I was pushed to the door to figure out to media. I was just given that path that became clear to me. All I knew was then I wanted to be in media, and that was it. And I basically took every day as a learning experience. I learned. It was a producer role at MTV. I literally did not know how to do anything. I did not know how to edit. I did not know how to. So I took the time. I did PA work, even though my position was like producer. I need to learn this, so I did PA work. I did the whole thing, with
Mm.
the clapper. I time coded things. I learned how to do the offline edits as well. That I don't know if you remember that, where you kind of have to
Yes.
do the frames, and kids now don't have that problem at
Mm.
all, which is great. But the reason why I learned it, even back then, there was already Final Cut Pro and all those editing programs online, but I wanted to learn because it helped me understand how to do this well. And I think if you have a strong foundation, um, it's easy to grow. It's easy to excel. It's easy to move up the ladder. So I really took that mentality of I need to learn everything. I didn't want to have what's that term? I didn't want to have that imposter syndrome, and
Mhm.
and and I also generally do not believe that you can enter right from the top. It's just you're not going to learn. You just don't have that foundation. You have to build a strong foundation. So with that in mind, I've always approached everything with that mindset. I did not want to look past certain things. All I knew was my boss at that time. I believe she was like 29. Um, and of course, when I was younger then, I was like, "Ooh, that's so old," But like, no, just kidding. Um, so she was 29, but she was the supervising producer of the Philippine office. It's like, "Ooh, I would love to be just like her." That's probably the highest I thought of. I'd
Mm.
like to be just like her, the supervising producer of MTV Asia and the Philippines. And I started just working. I just worked hard, and I ended up becoming the head of production at 25. And so I basically beat that goal by 4 years at least. And I and from there I was just like, well, now what? I actually, because
Yeah.
that was probably the only goal I had, to be honest. I didn't think about anything else. I didn't think about, oh, let me go conquer the world. I said, well, I'd like to do more. I'd like to have my work be seen or work on big projects. And sure enough, if I take a step back and look at things in aggregate, because you can't see the forest from the trees when you're in it,
Hmm.
but when you take a step back and hindsight is like what 2020, right? So I started realizing I learned a lot of things. I was given a lot of opportunities that at that time I just took it, but not realizing it helped me build my skills. It helped me build my network. It helped me build my credibility, and I just went with it. And when then the next opportunity, I thought I'd be with MTV for a while. To be honest, I felt like, well, this is my dream job. Why would I want to leave? And then I was poached by ABS-CBN Global. ABS-CBN is one of the largest Filipino broadcasters, and and this is how I made the move to the
To the
U.S.
States. Yeah.
They basically said like they hired me to be the general manager of Mix in the United States. And Mix is a very popular Filipino music channel. It was basically the rival of MTV. So they were
Yeah.
our mortal enemies at that time. And I was like, oh, this is so weird. And for me, because I was from MTV, and they hired me, so I'm very grateful to the managing director at that time who hired me. I will always be grateful for that. Again, I never forget where
Yeah.
I've come from. I am always grateful to everyone who's given me the opportunities. So that's how I ended up here. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm here. I moved 7,000 miles away to a city that I don't know anybody, and personally, I'm not, and it was a little hard. I didn't realize it would be hard for me because I was so focused on the work. But then I realized, oh my gosh, this is a big adjustment.
Yeah.
It's not like I just moved down the street. I
Yeah.
really
I
moved
can
so far
imagine.
away.
But when you mentioned earlier about the learning and having the foundational skills because you didn't want to have imposter syndrome, I think that's a great tip for people when you just to prepare for something in order to overcome imposter syndrome. But is that to say that you never felt the imposter syndrome or ask yourself, well, what am I doing here? Why did they choose me over everyone else? So you never really had that? Was that
Oh,
really the hard work that helped you?
I think it's natural to have doubts. I think once I hit a certain threshold in my career and in my skill sets and my knowledge base, I knew I was confident in what I can do. But then again, like you said, there's always a lot of people out there, and I'm not the only one who knows how to do what I do. There's so many people, and but I also realize you're there for a specific reason. It's not always about your skills. There's just a good fit. There's just something that makes you fit certain businesses, companies, projects a little better. So I never take anything for granted. But yeah, there are times I'm like, whoa, why did you pick me? And honestly, and especially when I made the move over to California, I was like, there's hundreds of people who would love this job, and I was picked for that. And I also just I always thank my lucky stars. I guess I'm always grateful for these opportunities. But I also try not to let doubts
Hmm.
rule my
Yeah.
head, because that's going to mess with your head, and it's always then it could take the
Yeah.
opposite effect of it might actually hurt you if you let that overwhelm you.
Preparation, there's something you can control. So if you're ready for the job, if your skills are up to par, and then everything else, the right fit will arrive and land on your lap, I suppose. And one thing that I wanted to ask you as well is, you have a bird's eye view of the media landscape now on a global stage. What is something that you can share with people to understand? Because there are a lot of people now who are online who want to be content creators. You're a producer, so you know the things to look out for, trends. What's the landscape like now? There's also AI. There's just a lot of new skills that you need to learn. Talking about improving, what is it like now? What do we need to know? And how do we conquer this space?
Wow, yeah, that's it's so different, and I think you and I have been lucky to start when it was a lot simpler, you
Well,
know.
carrying a bunch of tapes, like physical
Yeah,
tapes, into the
exactly.
editing room. Yeah. Simple and
Exactly.
physically hard. Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely inconveniences, but there was a lot more. um, it was a lot. The landscape was a lot less competitive back then, and I think right now, what's important is to kind of just, my opinion, like know where you want to be in first, because it's so fragmented as a and not just interests, but platforms, formats, everything. It's changed and evolved so much. I think what's important for people to realize today is you just, unfortunately, like, you just need to be on top of everything. You just need to be aware of what's going on, and in order for you to make informed decisions in your career. The sad part, to be honest, for me, and this is just my personal opinion, is that that's also a bad thing, because you can never turn off. You can never just unplug yourself, and because something is just going to overtake you. So this ultra hyper competitive landscape is something that you just have to accept. And if you really want to do it, you just have to go for it, and kind of be bold about it. But what's important is, what I see is important is that authenticity is still very important. You got to be true to yourself and what you believe in. People are so smart, and I think a lot of people don't give online online enough credit, or just people in general, that people could see through crap. They could see if you're not being true, or you're not being authentic. So if you're talking about where you want to be in the media ecosystem, I mean, everything is so different. I can't really say a blanket one size fits all kind of statement, but I think you kind of just need to know what you're getting into. You need to know what it's going to take to succeed, and you need to stand out. There's just always something that, there's a million content creators out there, and if you don't have something that is unique, then it's going to be very tough to break through. So it's really hard. I guess it's like I said earlier, like, everyone's path is different.
Yeah.
It's just, now you just need to be more aware of that. In fact, online, social media, everything makes you hyper aware of where you are. In fact, in my opinion, that's kind of scary and frustrating and kind of demoralizing. So
Mm.
I'm sort of glad that, when we were coming up in the industry, we didn't have to really deal with that.
No, but it's a completely different world in that you talk about the online, the influencers and content creators, because back when just a few years ago, when traditional media was so, I guess, with their noses up, like, oh, what's this? And now this is, media companies go to influencers because they need them. The times have really changed, and the opportunities that they have. So yes, it was easier for us because the media was kind of more in control, I suppose. It was narrower, there was a path. But now, equally, the opportunities for them to succeed at 20-year-old, making more than a lot of people would make in a lifetime, that's also crazy to think about. But the opportunity is there, so if you know how to make the most of that, or figure it out, I suppose.
But I think, and you're absolutely right, and I think that's also a good thing right now, where how fragmented things are. There's really no monopoly anymore
Mm.
in terms of eyeballs, and I think traditional media companies always think they have monopoly. And if you think about it, the reason why these studios and media companies are so dominant and so powerful is because they control the distribution channels. And but now everyone could create their own. Everyone could find their own path to it. So there is a benefit to it, but the downside is also the hyper competitiveness of it,
Yeah.
and being
Well,
able
now
to
the
find an
power, tech
audience.
companies have the power because they control the distribution platforms. But that is why it's also positive that a lot of business owners and creators are aware of that, and therefore looking for ways to not be overly dependent on platforms. I think that's, it's
Absolutely.
par for the
And
course. That's how industries evolve.
I also think that's why we were able to, at least my company was able to launch the All Women Sports Network too, because if it was if the traditional players were always in charge, then they're the ones with the final say all the time. A no is literally a final no, but with today's landscape and so many different distribution channels, so many different opportunities for so many different interests that are that can be reached through alternative means, I think that's a good thing. So it is I guess when you
Yeah.
think about it, it is you know, like anything, there's always an opportunity cost. There's always a trade out. You lose certain
Yeah.
things, but you get other
You
things.
lose
And
and you win and lose certain things. But I, as we were talking about off air, and I told you one of my mission now is to help more people amplify their voices, especially those that have really good things to say, good ideas to share. And you're right, the fragmentation of media is not necessarily a bad thing. And the existence of so many platforms, it means you can, and you only need a small part of the internet to really make an impact with people who for whom your message lands, right? So that's oh, I see that as a positive, and you're absolutely right when it comes to that. And now, what do you think, you in your journey, what do you wish more people understood about life, about career, and even about your field? So what is the one thing you would like to impart where you wish more people were open to thinking about it this way?
I realized something too that pretty recently that that made me think because it runs counter to how everyone does things. Sometimes people are so hung up on their resume, and resumes I honestly don't matter as much because it could always be embellished. It could always be, yeah. Well, honestly, that's maybe the thing, embellishment of resumes. I think people just need to do things. They just need to get off the couch, go for it. Be a little bold. Don't wait for opportunities to fall into your lap and be like, oh, this is it. You got to go out there and get it and make things happen. I realize there's two very important qualities that for people you want to work with, people who you hire, people who are your coworkers, people who are your bosses. And for me, it was so simple this whole time, but I never realized it until like pretty recently. I think character and intelligence are two very important things um, that will make someone succeed. Because you can have amazing character, but you're not very intelligent. It's hard to succeed in that. But if you're very intelligent, but you have poor character, it's very hard to trust and work with someone like that. So for me, I think it's important for people to, at least for people who are in positions to hire, look for that and not really pay attention too much to the resume because there's always a diamond in the rough somewhere. You got to give people chances. So I think you just have to know what you. I mean, actually, you don't. I'm kind of contradicting myself. You have to know. No, you don't. You just have to do it. That's
Yeah.
kind of like what I
Yeah.
felt I did, where you
Yeah.
just go out there, put yourself out there. If you have a certain interest, explore it. It could be a dead end, but who cares? If it's a dead end, then then it does one thing off your list that you think, okay, I can't do this, then let me just move on to the next. So just keep trying, and don't think that there's a path for you. I think that's
Be
frankly
open to
that's
where life takes you, I suppose,
yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
I
it's not
was,
it's fiction to
yeah,
think that, oh, this is where I'm going to have to be. Destiny.
yeah.
I'm destined for this.
Hmm.
No, just
I was also on your point about resumes. I was actually crafting a post about that on how we should look more favorably on unconventional paths, because I think it's just um, a gold mine of what it says about someone. I think gone are the days of just looking at the straight path of they've done this, they climbed the ladder this way very straight. I agree with you 100% on that, and I think organizations are still probably missing out on a few lateral movements of people, that
mhm.
the transferable skills, we talk about it so much but we don't actually do a lot about it in the corporate setting. So yeah, thank you for raising that point. I think that's a really important point. And before I let you go, for listeners, I want you to challenge them on something if you could. What is the one thing you'd like them to walk away from this conversation we've just had, from everything you've shared, and challenge them, provoke their thinking on something that you'd like them to reflect on, after listening to you?
Wow. I think everyone has their own path, and everyone has their own talents. Everyone does have talent. I mean, if you could say, oh, I have no talent, that's nonsense. And people always say like, oh, I can't name something. Of course not. There's always something that you're good at. The challenge I would pose to people is do something that actually kind of makes you uncomfortable, because that really pushes you and that shows you your limits. It shows you where how far you can go to make things happen, and maybe open some new opportunities that you didn't realize were there. Like it's no different than I think when you play certain video games. I'm not much of a gamer, but I want to share like an anecdote. Like there's a horror video game I was playing a few years ago where I remember the one stage was it was so scary. I didn't want to go through with it. I didn't want to finish it because I was so afraid of of what would happen if I went to this thing and this some scary creature was right behind the corner. But then when I finally did it, there was a whole new level of gameplay that you can do. So I would say the parallel for that is just do something that scares you, but something but it still has to interest you. It can't just be something that scares you. You have to be interested in doing something, and see if you could get past that and see if it opens up something different for you, something a new path that you've never seen before. If you want to start a company, go for it. I mean, you gotta learn a lot of other things, but you gotta go for it. If you want to be an actor, you can't just sit at home and waiting to be discovered. You got to go get audition. You got to go to auditions. You got to go do this. If you want to be a writer, you got to like go around and share your script with people, meet people. So, and those things can be scary, but you never know who you're going to meet. So I think the most important thing is get out of your comfort zone, challenge yourself, do something that you probably don't think you could ever do. But I think you got to know, you got to have an idea at least of where you want to be. But I guess that would be my challenge to everybody, because I feel it's something that served me well. I mean, I constantly challenge myself. I learned different skill sets because I challenge myself, and I think everyone can kind of benefit from doing the same thing.
That's a great way to end this podcast. Thank you so much, Miguel, for your time. I'm not used to saying Miguel. Migs, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks.
Really appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and congrats on your podcast. I'm so excited.
Thank you, and good luck on the channel. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for it. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider giving us a 5-star rating so others can find the podcast. Thank you for your company, and see you next time.